Hello everyone, I'm Patton Lucas and welcome to Xalus Technologies, an award-winning web design, web application, and custom software development company. Today I'd like to spend a few minutes of your time and show you our client testimonial videos, where clients get to share their experience working with Xalus and our performance on their projects. Meet Brent Fisher, co-founder of Storytime.com and one of our great clients whom we now consider part of the Xalus family. Brent, would you give us a brief overview of what your project is about?
Sure. The nature of Storytime.com is basically we've got kind of three spaces. One is that we have a place where parents and kids can find and create great stories to read to each other and share with other people. We also have a place where artists, illustrators, and writers can come together to collaborate on projects and create stories. And we also have a place where publishers, both large and small, can sell their stories. We kind of have three areas of software that we're working on. One is the Storytime Designer, and it is the place where it's the tool where people go to let their imaginations run wild while creating interactive stories. We also have the player that presents those stories. And then we have the website that brings a place for the Storytime community to come and collaborate with each other.
That is an amazing concept, Brent. Now, what were the factors that brought you to choosing Xalus Technologies?
We actually started looking for some folks to help us with building out our product, and we went to several places. One of those was Guru.com, and Xalus had a very good reputation on there. We sent a request for bid to Xalus. We also sent a request for bid to several other people, and we had a bit of a hard time discerning which bidders really knew what they were doing, and we could tell that maybe the specification that we had sent out, or the requirements document, wasn't filled enough, and Xalus had some really good ideas about what to do about that. But in the end, yeah, we met them on Guru.com.
Since we're on that topic, if you don't mind, would you give us an in-depth idea on the process that Xalus Technologies use to meet your project specifications?
Sure. So, like I was saying, initially we gave Xalus a requirements document that had a fairly high-level project in there. We went through the user interface for the designer, but we didn't have any pictures of it, and some of the ideas and requirements weren't fleshed out enough. And Xalus came up with the idea to prototype our requirements document so that we could understand and communicate our vision better with them and with other people. So when we heard that Xalus' idea about making that requirements document into a prototype, we thought it was a great idea and the way to go. So we began that process, and it really helped us to flesh out the details of the product and visualize the product we were creating. But more importantly, it enabled us to communicate that vision to other vendors and ourselves.
I'm glad that you found our processes up to par with your expectations. Now, you also mentioned the prototyping phase. Can you share with us how this particular process has affected the project in terms of speed, quality, and overall outcome?
Sure. So I would say that prototyping enabled us to flesh out many of our ideas and visions for our project. It also provided us some unique insight from the Xalus team, while mitigating a lot of the risk that we may have incurred had we simply started the project without it. In terms of speed, at times I thought that it went kind of slow. But one thing that I am confident of is that had we not moved over to the prototyping process, had we gone straight to development, I think we would have wasted a lot of time on various areas of development that may have been scrapped later. And I have to say, at times we also thought that the prototyping went very fast. In fairness, I think a lot of the iterations went very quickly, and most of the time Xalus is probably waiting on us to come back with our thoughts on the prototyping process. In terms of quality, I believe that the prototyping process will produce a very high quality product in many aspects, including the usability of the application. I think the architecture, the sellability or marketability of the product will be higher, and I think that it gives us a good idea of the external tools that we may be able to use or leverage to build our product. In terms of the overall outcome, I felt the prototyping went well. I felt that we got more out of it than we paid for, actually. The Xalus design team had a great eye for style and aesthetics. Their project management team kept a careful watch on detail, and they were able to capture our ideas and make sure that those were incorporated into the prototype and not lost. And I think that gave the implementation team a leg up on what it is that we were building. And it really provided a media to communicate our vision to them.
Those were really great insights, Brent. Thank you. Now, let's move on to the core of what makes a company great. How was your experience working with the people in Xalus Technologies like?
I would say that I found the people at Xalus Technologies to be very professional, very courteous, and I found that they kept our needs in mind throughout the whole process. I understand that Xalus has a worldwide organization, and yet they were able to work within my time constraints, which are pretty great. They were also very mindful of the budget that Storytime has, and I really appreciated that.
Brent, I cannot thank you enough. And our time is almost up, but before we go, I would like to ask you one last question. How would you rate your overall experience working with Xalus Technologies?
I was very impressed with Xalus. There's a lot of great people with great ideas there, and overall I would say that I will definitely consider them on my next project.